All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cornelius Jones, and if you're watching this video, most likely you are at Trader's Village and you purchased my magic trick that I like to call I Can Tell the Future. All right, so what happened? You came and you simply took some cards, right? Off the top, you threw them to the side. You took the next card, you put it down. You took some more cards off the top. Okay, you put them to the side. You took the next card and you put it face down. And then you did the same thing again. Took some more cards off the top. Took the next card and put it face down, which left you with 3 cards that were randomly chosen out of the deck, right? You took the rest of the cards and you put them to the side. All right, now, so you got 3 cards that you just randomly chose out of the deck. And then out of those 3 cards, you chose a card, okay? I didn't force you to choose a card. It was no way I could control what 3 cards ended up on the table. And then out of those 3, you chose one. And then you read the piece of paper in your pocket that I wrote down before the trick even started. And it turned out to be that card. Okay. So how in the heck did I do that? All right, so that's why you're watching this video, and let's get down to it, okay? All right, so first and foremost, guys, when you're learning this trick, just please understand it's very simple to do. However, it's going to take a lot of practice, okay? This is something that I've, a little trick that I've, come up with. I've been doing this for years and years, but if you're going to be real good at it, it's going to take some practice, okay? So let's get down to it. How did we do this? Well, first and foremost, you have to learn the principle of manipulation, okay? So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is simply this. I lied to you. Yes, don't be offended. I know. But yes, I did lie to you. What seemed to be so amazing about this trick, it really wasn't so, okay? And so that's with, any magic trick. Things are going to appear to be one way when it's really not the case, okay? So what am I talking about? Well, if someone were to ask you, wow, what happened? Or if you were to tell somebody, man, this guy did this great trick, what will be some of the key points that you feel will be so amazing about this card trick? Well, one of the things you would probably say was, well, man, I had the cards the whole time, okay? He didn't even touch the cards. Okay, well, that's a lie because I did touch the cards. I shuffled the cards. Okay. And another awesome thing you may say was, man, I chose out of 3 cards, I chose a card and it ended up being the card. Well, that's a lie too because as you're about to see, I forced you to choose the card that I wanted you to choose. Okay. So I'm going to teach you to do this trick well. You have to be able to manipulate your audience and make them think one thing is going on when really something else is going on. Okay, so it's just all part of the game. It's fun and games, okay? So how do we get down to it? All right, so let's get started. So what you're going to do, okay, it's a classic thing. You're going to let somebody know that, hey, you're going to do a card trick and you're going to tell them, hey, I can tell the future, right? And so that's the name of the game. I can tell the future. And so you're going to write something down on a sheet of paper. You're going to write down the card that they are going to pick before you even start the trick, okay? Well, before you start the trick, how do you know what to write? Well, you're going to take a sneak peek at the bottom card. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that's just classic, the bottom card. Yes, you're right. Many tricks are like that. You look at the bottom card. But just bear with me, okay? Because if you perform it right and you manipulate your audience correctly, then, you should get some oohs and ahs in there, okay? All right, so in this case, the bottom card is the 7 of clubs, okay? So before, I'm going to I'm going to take a sneak peek at it well before I announce I'm about to do a trick. You don't want to be obvious about what you're doing. You want to make sure you know what that bottom card is, okay? So I know what the bottom card is. Okay, I'm about to do a trick. So I'm going to take the sheet of paper and say, hey, I'm about to tell the future. I'm going to write something down that's going to happen in the future, okay? So I write down secretly, you would choose the 7 of clubs. I fold this paper up I give it to my prospect, have them put it in their pocket. All right? Make them promise not to open the paper until the right time. All right, so you got that out the way. Now, you know, so far, you already wrote down the card that they're going to choose, and the card that you want them to choose is where? It's on the bottom. All right, so the very first thing you do, you, with the bottom card like this, you stick your hand out, okay? And you say, all right, all I want you to do is just take some cards off the top, okay? That's all you do. You give them a slight little demonstration. Boom, like that, all right? Now, they're going to take some cards off the top, and then after they take the card off the top, with the card still in your hand, you're going to say, now look at them, okay? Now, here's where this is going to be in your favor. Most people don't believe in magic or card tricks, okay? They're going to try to figure out, okay, what's the catch or what is the thing? I know this is not real. So when you tell them, now look at them, most people, they're going to look at the cards really intently and focus and trying to figure out, okay, what's the trick? What's the trick? Okay? And that's where you got them. Now remember, each time you pull cards off the top of the deck, I had you what? I had you look at them. But think about that. Did those cards that you pulled off the top, did they have anything to do with the trick? No, they did not. Okay? So why would I want you to look at the cards? Well, I want you to look at the cards because I'm trying to create a diversion. There you go. I'm sure somebody out there got it. All right, so you want to create a diversion. So while they picked up that first deck, that first time, right, the cards are in your hand, you said, hey, I'm going to have you pick up some cards. Now look at them. They're looking at these cards while now you got to be slick. You got to be smooth with it. While they're looking at these cards, what do you simply do? You take the bottom card without looking at your hand. You take the bottom card, you slide it to the top, and you put the cards on the table. Now, once you have, that is the hardest part of the trick. That's it. Once you place the bottom card on the top, you put the cards down, and from that, it's a breeze. After that, it's all about manipulation, okay? So, they took the first deck of cards off the top, and then you tell them, now throw those to the side, okay? Now, at this point, I tell my prospect, now, as we get started, I want you to realize, before we start this trick, I want you to understand, I am not going to touch the cards. Now, I said before we start this trick, the trick has already started, okay? But when I put that little thing out there, people always forget that in the very beginning, I really did have the cards, but people don't remember that, okay? So I'm going to say, now, before we start this trick, I want you to understand who's touching the cards. You're touching the cards. I'm not touching the cards. And I'll even stand back and say, hey, you're touching the cards the whole time. I'm not going to touch the cards. So what do? You take the next card. You tell them, now take the next card off the top and put it face down, okay? So, boom. Now, remember, the cards are not in your hand. You never touch the cards again, okay? So they take the next card off the top, which is the 7 of clubs, right? Boom. That's the card they're going to choose. Now, the other 2 cards don't matter, okay? So you can tell them, now take some more cards off the top. So they take some more cards off the top, and you tell them just to keep it consistent with all the rest of them, and look at those. And so they look at them, but while the whole time you standing back here. So they look at these cards, they put them to the side, okay? What do? Now take the next card off the top, you tell them, and put it next to that one. So they take this next card off the top, put it next to this one. Now, it's very important that you remember where the first card was, okay? If you don't, your only job at this point is to remember where the first card is. If you don't remember where this card is, you will ruin the entire trick, all right? So just remember that. Sometimes people may take the next card and put it here. They may take the next card, put it here. You just have to keep your eye on the very first card that was placed on the table. Make sense? All right, so let's say for this sake, they put it right here. So far they got 2 cards on the table. They do it again. Take some more cards off the top and look at them. They pick it up, they look at them, and throw it to the side. They throw it to the side. Now take one more card off the top and put it next to these 2. They take these cards off the top. Let's say they put it here, okay? Now you tell them, now take the rest of the cards and throw them away. Or if you want to tell them to look at them, it's up to you. because the next two really didn't matter, right? So boom, now you have 3 cards on the table. Now you remind them again. Now, you tell them. Now, what we just did, we randomly chose 3 cards out of the deck. Would you say that's random, Mr. Prospect? Now, of course, they're probably going to say yes, and I remind them. Now, who touched the cards the entire time? They're going to say, I did. Forgetting all about the first time I did touch the cards, right? And you're going to ask them. Now, this is where the manipulation comes in, okay? Do you think I could have controlled any way those cards that ended up on the table? You ask them that. No. You say, okay, did I tell you how many cards to take off the top? Okay. Is there any way I could have controlled how many cards you took off the top? Of course, they're going to be like, no, there's no way. So you got to build it up. You got to set it up to make them really believe that you had no control over these 3 cards. This is a very important step because this step is what creates the amazement. It's like, oh my God, how did he do that? He never touched the cards. I was in control. And how did he do that? Okay. So if you can do that part, you got to practice that part in the manipulation of it. You're going to be well on your way. All right. So the final part of the trick is very simple. Okay. And I know you're asking, okay. So I see how you got one of the cards on the table, but how did you make me choose that card? Okay. All right, so there are 2 groups out there, okay? There's one group of you, I said, now, touch a card. And you touched this card, and I took the rest of them away, and it was the whatever card I wrote in your pocket. And I know how you feel. You're like, oh my God, what if I touch this card? Or what if I touch that card, okay? All right, so how did we do it? Well, it's very simple. It's kind of like, it's kind of a force or subliminal type of thing what I do, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to point to the card you want them to touch, okay? So once you've set up the manipulation, you got them to agree that they've controlled the entire thing. You had no way of, manipulating what cards ended up on the table. Then you say, okay, you put your hands up and say, now, all I want you to do is touch a card. Okay? You got to be subtle about it. Don't say touch a card. Okay? You just say, hey, now all I want you to do is touch a card. Okay? Now, this doesn't always work, okay? But I would say 30 to 40% of the time, they're going to touch the card that you want them to touch. Well, look, it's a 33% chance, right? But that little extra pointing to the card you want them to touch, and just if you're very subtle with it, just touch a card, most likely they're going to choose that card. And if they choose that card, then yes, you're smiling because you know that's the card. If they choose that card, you take the other 2 cards away and you say, now listen, who chose that card? You further manipulate. Did I force you to choose that card? Okay, are you sure you chose the card you wanted to choose? Okay, now that's when you really set it up and say, all right, now read the piece of paper in your pocket. You will choose the 7 of clubs, flip it over, bam, it's the 7 of clubs. And then you look like the Magic King. Okay, now hold on. I know what you're thinking. What if they don't touch that card? Okay, nice. So like I said, there are 2 groups of you out there, okay? There's one group, you touch the card I wanted you to touch from the beginning, okay? Now let's say you don't touch that card, all right? Now you tell them, okay, all I need you to do is touch a card. And then they touch the middle, okay? Without hesitation. If they don't touch that card, I'm going to just say something like this. Okay, touch a card. Oh, no, like this. Take 2 hands and touch 2 cards. I'm just going to switch it on, okay? I'm going to switch it so fast like they don't even know what happened, okay? So go ahead. All I need you to do is touch a card. Oh, no. Like this. Take your 2 fingers like this and touch 2 cards, okay? So that's all you're going to do. Just act like you made a mistake in the directions or something. But don't say, oops. And it's like, oh, no. Like this. Take 2 fingers and touch 2 cards. Okay? Now, here's the key. If they touch the card that you wrote down, then you're going to say, and pull it towards you. Okay? If they don't touch this card, you're going to say, and push it away from you. So here's how it works. So remember, this is the card I want them to choose, right? So you tell them, no. Touch 2 cards. So in this case, they're touching this card and some other card, and I'm going to say, and pull them towards you. You pull them towards you, which leaves this one out. It implies they're throwing this away. So you just take this card and you throw it away. And you say, okay, now touch one more card. If they touch this card, you say, and pull it towards you. And you throw this one out, boom. If they touch the other card, you're going to say, and push it away from you. Okay? So it's very, very simple. If they touch the card that you want them to touch, you say, and pull it towards you. If they, hey, Neil, this is my son, everybody. Say, hey. All right, go back downstairs for a second, okay? All right, so if they touch this card, you say, and pull it towards you. If they don't touch it, you say, and push it away from you. And that's how you force them. Either way, it doesn't matter what they choose, to choose the card that you want, okay? So again, recap. Very simple. You write down, you look at the bottom card before you even get ready to do the trick. Okay? Boom. If I was going to do the trick right now, it would be the 5 of diamonds. Okay? I write down, hey, I can tell the future. I'm about to tell you what's going to happen in the future. You would choose the 5 of diamonds. I give it to them. Now, you might want to shuffle the deck. If you want to shuffle the deck before you get started with the trick, okay, you just shuffle and keep the bottom card, if you know how to shuffle, at the bottom. Okay? That was terrible. All right, so boom. All right, you just keep the bottom card. You can shuffle it as many times as you want, but you don't be obvious. I'm kind of being obvious that I'm keeping it at the bottom. But you just got to be slick with it and just make sure you keep that card at the bottom, okay? All right, buddy. That's my son. I'm going to have to go, guys. All right, but you keep that card at the bottom, and then, Neil, go downstairs. I'm recording something. I must be a terrible father. My son is hungry, and I'm doing this. Now, I'm about to go feed my son, guys, so I got to go. So listen, you keep that card at the bottom, and then once they pull here, you tell, okay, now pull some cards. Take them off the top and look at them. They pick them up. They look at them. While they're looking at them, you make sure they're looking at them and not at you. You just hold the cards. They're looking at those cards. Real slick. Boom. Quick and fast. Put them down. Your job is done. Okay? They pick up some more. Now take the next card. Put it face down. Boom. Pick up some more cards and look at them. Boom. They look at them. Throw them away. Take the next card. Put it face down. Okay? They do that 3 times. Now, let's say the card is in the middle. Take the rest of the cards. Throw it away. All right? Very simple. All right, now, all I want you to do now, before you go into the next part, you have to manipulate them, okay? Remind them. Now, who touched the cards the entire time? Yeah, you did, right? Now, did I tell you how many cards to take off the top? No, right? So there's no way that I could have controlled what cards ended up on the table. Wouldn't you agree? You gotta sell them on that. You gotta manipulate them, okay? All right, so cool. So you're saying there's no way I could possibly know what any of those cards are, right? Exactly. Okay. So now all I want you to do is touch a card. Okay? I subtly pointed to the middle card in this case. Hopefully they touch the middle card. If they do, boom, you take the other ones away and you're home free. Okay? If they don't, then you say, oh, no, like this. Take 2 hands and touch 2 cards. They touch this card then and pull it towards you. If they don't touch it, and push it away from you. Okay? It's very simple. You got to practice it. You got to practice it and practice it. If you manipulate well and you're not fumbling with the cards, you're going to amaze a lot of people. Do it at parties, do it on your friends. And remember the number 1 rule. A good magician never reveals his tricks. All right? All right, guys. I'm out. I'm about to go feed my babies. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And hope you feel it was worth it. All right? Later. Practice and have a lot of fun. Take care.